Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. Let me talk to you. So we got season 4 of The Boys, episode 1, 2, and 3, and I have to say, man, they don't skip a beat. Everything about this show feels like The Boys from the beginning to the end. Now, one of the things that I don't want to see, which this season is kind of leaning in that manner, is the gratuitous violence.
You're all fucking welcome.
I'm all for it when it works. And this is the first season that I would say that some of the violence that's happening in the show doesn't make a bit of sense in some aspects. And some of it's used to set up some simple punchlines that still don't really make any sense. So this is probably the one season so far that I would say it's a little bit slightly too far, but the story itself is still absolutely good. The performances from everybody is absolutely good. Everything from Starlight, A-Train, Homelander, Anthony Starr is still killing it as the villain of the show. Huey, he's killing it as well. Then you can't forget Billy Butcher, man. Carl Urban is such a good actor, and he's taken that role of Billy Butcher to a whole nother level. And of course, you have the rest of the seven. One of the things that I want to see from this show is how the rest of the comics, the graphic novels, is going to be translated into or adapted into this show. Now, that was a story that came out a couple days ago that the 5th season is going to be the final season of The Boys, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So many shows go on for so long, and it tarnishes the good that these episodes or these particular shows do. And I think a 5th season will be enough to close out this series. And of course, now you also know that we have Gen V, which is the spinoff show. And I think we probably will get more of these spinoff shows, but for The Boys proper, 5 seasons should be enough. I can't tell you how much Anthony Starr, his portrayal as Homelander is on another level. You can see the mental break that he's having. He's aging, he's losing his hair, and it's not his hair up here, it's his pubic hair. That's because at first I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? The more the episode went on and it happened more, than I realized it was just his pubic hair. I was like, damn. So this man's balding in a whole different level than everybody else. And then, of course, Billy Butcher, he's got that compound V going through his veins, and it's manifesting into an actual physical thing that you can see. So that's gonna be interesting too. I've got a couple theories, but I don't know how that is going to play out with the show, because in the comics, and I want to put this in a way that's not too spoilery, the death of Homelander is handled completely different in the comics than what we might get in the show. So it's interesting. Anybody that read the comics kind of know where I'm coming from with this. But we got Black Noir back. We don't know who's under the mask. We probably won't, but it's someone that they already know. It's hard to say, but some of the things that happen in the comics either are getting glossed over in the show or just getting skipped altogether. That ties the events in the comics of Homelander's death to what's going to happen in the show. Now, still, there is Soulja Boy that's still out there. We don't know what's going on with him. At the end of the last season, he got his ass kicked, and Queen Maeve kind of did what she had to do to save the day. So Soulja Boy is in custody, but he's still out there, and his story hasn't really closed off all the way. But the interaction between Starlight and Huey, their relationship is getting better, and I love Frenchie's and Kimiko's interaction in their relationship now, and the dynamic that just got introduced. I don't remember the issue with the guy that Frenchie's interested in the earlier seasons. Now, I remember him having to do this terrible thing to the family of someone, but I don't remember it. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch a little bit of season 1 to see if I could piece that together and get a little bit more recollection on that issue. But their chemistry is absolutely there, and I'm looking to see where they go with the girl that they fought in the warehouse. So apparently she has some ties to Kamiko and that whole liberation camp or concentration camp or whatever that they were going through when they were kids. So I'm curious to see where we go with that. But like I said, season 5, and this is coming from Eric Kripke, the creator of the show, that it's going to be the last one. So they have a lot of stuff to cover in this season 4, also in season 5, to kind of close out everything. But it's going really well, and the show hasn't skipped a beat. And I can't say enough of just how much Anthony Starr is killing that role as Homelander. And I like to see that A-Train is getting a little bit of growth. He's getting a little bit of redemption arc. Now, also, that's another issue too, because in the comics, A-Train met his end by Huey, but in the show that doesn't appear to be the case, because they seemingly have a relationship on the level that's not as bad as it was in the comics. A-Train is actually having a little bit of redemption, where in the comics A-Train was a complete asshole and he was the worst. So that alone might be something different from the comics as well. And then you have the Deep, because the Deep of the show is completely different than the Deep that was in the comics or graphic novel. The Deep in the graphic novel was vastly different than the Deep of the show. So that change in his character from the comics to the character in the show is also a big change. Well, it doesn't impact the story that much, because the way he is in the comics, or the way he was in the comics versus the way he's in the show, didn't really affect the story as much. But there's some things with A-Train that may or may not affect the story. There's some things with Black Noir that may or may not affect the story. And there's still, Edgar that's still out there. We don't know what's going to happen with that. That role was vastly different than the comics as well. So there's a lot of liberties that they're changing up from the comics to adapt to the show that are working. And then there's some things that are leaving a lot of questions that I need answered. But overall, the first 3 episodes of The Boys are exactly on point with the last 3 seasons. And the one thing that I would say is, I don't want the gratuitous violence to be there just for the sake of added gratuitous violence. It needs to make sense, and it needs to tie into what's going on in the story. But other than that, man, it's a show that if you watch the first 3, you're gonna enjoy the 4th. And season 5, based off of what Eric Kripke said, this is gonna be the last one. And I think they're gonna end it on a high note, because I don't want to see this show get drug out for 6, 7, 8 seasons and people lose their interest. And like I said, at some point, the amount of shock and awe that the show can put out is gonna stop making sense, and people are gonna become slightly disinterested. But other than that, man, the show is still absolutely good. The cast, the actors are absolutely killing it, and the show has not missed a beat. If you've seen it, let me know what you guys think about the first 3 episodes down in the comment section below. My name's Lincoln. This has been an RPG show. Like, comment, sub, and I'm out. Peace.